So we've done about 30 interviews in 2 days,
Oh my God.
and I every single time, because I have to get him to get content on my phone at the same time, and
Yeah.
every
Forget.
interview I forget. He said phone
He's
every
on
single
top of
time.
it. He's on
He's
top
killing
of it,
it.
though.
Yeah, he's killing it.
That's why you pay him the big bucks.
Oh yeah, it's called friendship.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I pay him
Exactly.
in. Is in friendship. So I suck at bios. I always
All good.
I always screw them up. So instead of me lying about you on camera,
No worries.
I think the best way I've started pretty much each interview is kind of just introduce yourself, tell you a little bit about your story, how you got here,
sure.
and then we'll just kind of have a fun time flow from there.
Yeah. So my name is Priya Patel. I'm 23 years old, almost 24. The reason I'm at AmFest myself is I'm honestly just a huge fan of the work that Turning Point has been doing in Charlie. I think it's been absolutely incredible, and yeah, as a pretty much lifelong patriot myself, it's really such an amazing experience to come to a place where, there's so much educational opportunity, but also to be surrounded by so many like-minded people that absolutely love America.
So what do you do for your career?
So I'm actually head of strategic partners at a new investment firm called Azoria. We launched at Mar-a-Lago just a few weeks ago, and we're going to be going live with our first ETF in late Q1, so in March of 2025.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
So what got you into politics? Like there's a lot of young people that maybe are conservative or they're this, but they're not like going to go out of their way. I know you've been on podcasts, a lot of other podcasts. You've been on your bio said you went on the whatever podcast. And
Yeah.
I'm sure that's a crazy story on how that even happened, because that's a very unique show.
It is. It's a very interesting show, that's for sure.
And so why politics? Why be so vocal about what you believe?
I don't personally have much of a platform myself, and that's not really why I got into it. I've very much always been super Christian, Republican, conservative my entire life. I was raised that way, and those values have just been instilled in me. And I think as I was getting older and the implications of whether that be the social or political climate were affecting me in my daily life, were kind of getting more polarizing kind of at that same time, and it just essentially fueled a fire in me to be more vocal about it. And the most I do is really just post on X and voice my thoughts on Instagram stories, but yeah, it's been really great. I really enjoy it.
Trevor.
It's really just a personal passion, so
Go get him. Sorry.
No, you're good.
We're grinding right now.
You're all good.
So tell me about I think a lot of people that will see your face will recognize you from the Whatever podcast. I know you've been asked about that every single time.
You're all good.
But I think that story's unique. How did you get connected with that crew of people? So the people that don't know what the Ever podcast is, it's a show where you have, a couple young gentlemen, one or two, three, that are conservatives, generally have traditional family values, whatever. And then they have from OnlyFans models to other women, and they kind of debate and try to poke holes in their line of thinking.
Yeah.
So how did you get connected with that whole circle and show?
Yeah, so they take open applications through Instagram DMs. However, I messaged them in response to a video that I saw. I'm a big Michael Knowles fan, and so
I hung out with him last night.
Love it.
It was incredible.
And so I responded to a clip of his first episode that he did with them, and they responded and asked if I wanted to apply, and I was like, I had never done anything like it before. I thought at the very least it would be an interesting experience.
Sure.
I could say that I did it. I went. I was not prepared for what it was. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I'd only seen clips of the show, so I wasn't well versed on the format or anything of that sort. But I went on and I really, really enjoyed myself. Hit it off with Brian, the host, and all the guys that work for him, and they invited me back on pretty soon afterwards, and yeah.
What was it like being, so I haven't had the opportunity to get crazy, polarizing on views on my show. Generally I've had people that we've disagreed, but it's not opposite aisles and arguments going. So what was that like for you? First time on camera, and then just balancing that, I want to be respectful, but also truthful and those dynamics. How did you, with nerves sweating and
it was very nerve-wracking. At that point in time, one of the other reasons I thought it would be, a good experience for me to do it was that I gotten really nervous public speaking. And it's not something that's ever been crippling, but it's been something that I have been wanting to make an effort to improve. And so I figured that would have been an interesting and different outlet to try and do that, and I was certainly right, and I really enjoyed it. But yes, it was very nerve-wracking at first. My heart was racing for probably the first hour of the show, to be completely honest with you.
So what's the format? A bunch of people just kind of sit down, chat, and then just get into stuff?
Yeah, so it normally is about a round table of roughly 10 people, give or take, and so it's the host, most of the time a second male guest that tends to be conservative, maybe another female or male guest that is also conservative, and then the rest tend to be, center left, socially at the very least, all the way to porn stars and OnlyFans models.
It's a unique show because I've always never understood about it, and then we'll pivot back to what we were talking about, but I've never understood, maybe you can answer this, is like why people go, like, they know they're going to be embarrassed. Yeah,
I find that really interesting too. I think a lot of it is like these girls that have OnlyFans and things like that. It's to promote their channels or whatever. Yeah, they know that a lot of these men that are watching at home are probably going to seek them out if they find them attractive, which is unfortunate. But at the same time, and then maybe like the college girls or the girls that represent the other more promiscuous side of it.
They really think they're right.
I think. Well, I don't know that. They might think they're right, but I think a lot of it boils down to seeking attention, to be completely honest. Especially now that that social media has given such a platform to essentially put hundreds of thousands of eyeballs on young women who would have never had, any sort of attention remotely to that standard in real life. And I mean, that goes for all of us, right? But yeah, I think women a lot of the times are really attention seeking when they go on there to promote
that makes a lot of sense, because I was always like, you're going to get torched on this show. But that makes a lot more sense now. So what do you want to do? Like, what do you want to do with all this? I mean, you're still taking some interviews. You've obviously been on the Whatever podcast, but you're working with a company that does investments on the side. So are you looking to get more in the political scene? Or are you looking to be, because the beautiful thing about what you do and why I was like, let's 100% have you on the show is because the reason I even started talking about politics on my show is we actually need more sane people talking, not less sane people talking in this world. So that's what I respect you a lot for just doing that.
Thank you. Likewise.
So what's the next steps? Like, so for you, are you just kind of like, I'm just going to kind of stay in my lane and kind of help where I can? Or are you going to try to are you trying to start a podcast? Are you trying to get more into social media? Like what's your goals and dreams on this kind of thing?
I don't have any plans as far as additional media creation or anything of that sort, at least right now. It's never it's always been interesting to me, but it's never been a particular aspiration of mine. I really enjoy coming on other people's podcasts, but I've never really had that urge to start my own, to be completely honest with you. But no, right now I'm really, really excited about the investment firm that we just launched, and hopefully we're going to have a successful launch with the ETF in March. But essentially what we're doing with the company and this first ETF is we're creating an index fund, and we're taking all of the companies that are essentially in the S&P 500, putting them into this index fund, but excluding all of the companies that hire based off of woke DEI policies. And so it's called the Azoria Meritocracy 500 Fund.
Wow. So basically it's an opportunity for people to invest in companies and grow their investments that match your ideals.
Exactly.
Like, you're not going to be investing into Target that's selling, trans clothing to minors, for example.
Yeah, well, and I mean, firms like BlackRock and Vanguard, right? We're trying to provide people an alternative to those and still be profitable, right? And with this initial ETF with Azoria, we're not trying to push any sort of political values on any of these companies or any of our customers. We're just interested in getting these companies to abandon these political agendas, right?
And it's starting. You're actually starting to see more and more, like I think even the University of Michigan just canceled their whole DEI department. So Like it's starting to see, and that's the beautiful thing, right? It's not just like, oh, we got to cancel them. It's like, no. We actually got to go support more the people that are doing it right.
Yeah, 100%. And so with Azoria, we've identified about 36 companies in the S&P 500 that have either hard or soft quotas for DEI hiring and promotion. And so what we're doing with excluding them from the fund, they're excluded initially, but they don't have to remain in excommunicado, right?
Right.
They're able to work their way back into the fund if they decide to abandon these woke policies and agendas and go back to hiring and promoting employees based off of merit, right? Like,
I mean, you would think it would be that simple, right?
It should be, and it seems like common sense to me that a successful business and company is going to be determined based off of employees' performance, not the color of their skin, not their gender or their sexual orientation. Like, those immutable traits tell me absolutely nothing about you. They don't tell me anything about your work ethic and how much you actually get done, right?
It's funny, I talked to my wife, she's like, I would be offended if I was hired just because I was female.
Exactly.
She's like, it would actually make me angry that you don't value me as like my work ethic
100%.
or my skill set.
Yeah.
And like literally happened at college, there was a political campaign that they're like, hey, we need more women, can you be part of it? She's like, no.
Yeah.
Like, no, I can't be more part of it because you don't give a crap about who I am. And I think a lot of more women are starting to be like, yeah, no, I want to be hired because I deserve it.
Exactly.
And that's a really cool thing. Well, let me give you an opportunity to promo anything. How can people support you guys, support either you personally, support the company?
Yeah. So hopefully everyone goes out and checks out Azoria. We're on X, Instagram, and then our website is azoriapartners.com. And yeah, I hope everyone's looking forward to the launch and will consider switching over from the S&P 500 and over to us. And we're really confident that our returns are actually going to top those of the S&P. These companies that we've identified are far underperforming the S&P 500 itself. So we think that our index fund is gonna outperform it.
I mean, I love the concept, and I think a lot of people love the concept as well.
Yeah.
So please go support them. If you can, thank you for coming on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me.
And please go support them. Subscribe. We'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you.
Thank you.